Hey, I'm Delia. I am a residential art curator. I'm making this video today for the interior designers. So one of the services that I offer through my company is supporting interior designers really across the country to help them curate really meaningful artworks for their clients. And I just wanted to take you through what that actually looks like, what a couple of the different ways that can play out are, and I'm also going to take you through this little deck that I put together that'll help you give an overview of the services that I offer, but also show you some of the featured artists I've worked with, different project costs, estimated budgets, so you can kind of get a sense of who I'm working with and what I do. So the first thing that I want to really just hone in on is why I created this company. So I really do feel like the art world has largely failed to make itself relevant and accessible to most people. As interior designers, you understand that art is so valuable in the home. It is the pulse of the home. It can really help individuate a space, make it truly unique and personalized to who that client is. And it's critical, but it's really difficult to source. It's overwhelming. It is not easy to find relevant artists. It's not easy to find artwork within a price point. It's super challenging to search for art based on subject matter or emotional tone. It really puts a lot on your plate. So that's where I step in and why I have created these services to really support you in your work, because as designers, you really juggle plenty already. So let me take you through what it kind of looks like to work with me. I typically work directly with your client. So you can either be pretty hands-off and just refer the client to me and then I'll give you a referral fee, or you can kind of embed our partnership into the services that you are offering your client. And that is totally up to you and the way that you choose to run your business and operate your services. So totally up to you, but I love working directly with the client because this is so much more than just aesthetics. It is so much more than picking medium and color. It's really about identifying a client's values, their priorities, what their family narrative is, what kind of emotional tone they want to set throughout their home via their art, and of course the design. So it's much more layered than simply plugging in a piece of art to match with your design. I think that this can get really overwhelming if you are not working with an art consultant. You are just doing enough as is. It's really stressful. It takes a lot of insider knowledge. It takes a huge passion for sourcing art to find those pieces that are genuinely reflective of who your client is, what their aspirations are, what their personal narrative is, how art can tell a memoir, be their visual memoir in a sense. So when I'm working with your client, I take them through this proprietary process that I've developed that essentially helps me uncover all of those layers and get a really clear understanding of what they might appreciate in a piece of art. I then go and curate that art. When I'm working with a designer, I typically will provide 2 to 3 pieces per placement that you're trying to put art into their home. So, for example, if you have a large piece in the living room, a piece in the hallway, a piece in the bedroom, I'll provide 2 to 3 pieces per place. And that's really just the initial curation. So at that point, we'll sit down with the client, we can go through their reactions to it, whether it works, doesn't work, what doesn't work, really helping them develop an empowered language around what their preferences are, helping them understand what they like and don't like and why, like really connecting it to the more personalized and meaningful aspects behind those pieces of art. That can take about 3 weeks for me to curate that initial collection. And I'm also drawing from notes that you've given me, from photos you've given me, anything that you can provide that'll help me create cohesion in the curation with your design. From that point, we are able to really go back in with our client notes and revise the portfolio, take their feedback. If they didn't immediately love a piece, I'm gonna try to either help them find more appreciation with it or provide a different piece, because to me, you should absolutely love every single piece of art in your home. That art is telling your story. It is what people are going to ask about when they walk into your space. And it's important to me that you're able to speak about it from a really personalized place and not from, a note card on who the artist is what their medium is, any like art history, museum style conversation. So the client really has to love the piece a lot. And if they don't, I'm going to work really hard to find them a new piece or help them deepen their appreciation of it. Those arts appreciation practices take many forms, and I kind of make them responsive to who the client is. Some people prefer a written practice, some people prefer a dialogue, a meditation, kind of whatever their style is. I can meet them where they're at and provide these really powerful arts appreciation practices that help them sift through the many feelings that they might have about that art piece to come to a conclusion that yes, they really want to buy this piece and they are extremely excited about it. A few things really set this company apart from other art consultants. The first is that I do not have a minimum budget for art. So my clients typically have a budget of between $2,000 and $7,000 overall for the total art budget. Sometimes it'll be up from that, sometimes it's lower. I do have a membership option if your clients have a really low budget, which we can certainly talk about. So let me know if that's what your situation is, and I will provide you more information on that membership. But typically their art budget is between $2,000 and $7,000. Most art consultants, and to be fair, there are only like 400 of us in the country, but most art consultants have a minimum art budget of $10,000 and then set a commission on top of that of between 10 and 20%. So at a bare minimum, the client is looking at $11,000 for art consulting. I don't have a minimum art budget. I will work with any budget, whatever makes sense for the client. I totally respect wherever people are at, how much they want to put into art is totally fine with me. And on that note, I do offer prints and reproductions as well as originals. So I think there's quite a stigma around prints and reproductions. I'm a big fan of them. I think that they can be a really wonderful way for a client to step into art collecting and get comfortable in that world. I also think if you're building out a gallery wall, it's pretty necessary to have prints and reproductions in there. Where your budget is really high, it can also be a little bit overwhelming with all originals. I think it can be helpful to break it up with some prints. So I offer services for both based on whatever the client tells me they are looking for. I also don't hold inventory, I don't contract with galleries, and I don't represent any artists. This allows me to be genuinely responsive to what the client is actually looking for. I'm not beholden to any gallery that might have a small selection of artists. I don't have my own online gallery where I'm going to be incentivized to select from a short list of artists. I really search worldwide for the artists that I curate from. And I have this incredible asset through my company that is this pretty extensive database that has these really dynamic filters. So I'm able to pretty efficiently find art for your clients based on subject matter, emotional tone, content, medium, size, budget, any of those things, even artist identity. I know that a lot of folks these days, especially millennials, are really interested in the social change aspect of basically every service that they invest in. You can do that by supporting artists with specific backgrounds and cultural identities that you want to provide support to, these marginalized artists who maybe you identify with, and it feels really important to you to have that your identity reflected in the artwork or the artist that you're supporting. Those are all categories that I can plug into my database to help me find the perfect pieces for your clients that hit all of those notes. Let's go over a few of these financial details here. So as I said, my clients typically have an art budget of $2,000 to $7,000, $4,000 to $10,000, somewhere in that range for their overall budget, not per piece. I can certainly source above and below that, totally up to you. And again, if you have a really low budget client, please let me know and I will love to connect you to my membership options so you can kind of get a rundown on how that works. I prefer to do a flat fee. My flat fee is $2,000. I will do hourly if that's either your working style or what tends to work best for the project. For example, if we're doing a really small curation and it seems pretty straightforward, hourly is going to be the most cost-effective way to go. So my flat rate is $2,000, and then if we're doing hourly, again, for these like smaller, more direct projects, if we're doing hourly, I do $380 for the initial intake meeting, a flat fee for that intake meeting, and then on top of that, it's $150 per hour additional after that meeting. That gives you some flexibility. Again, if you have a medium budget client who is pretty straightforward, is pretty clear on what they want, is able to articulate that, and it's accessible, and I can walk you through which option makes the most sense for you. I'm more than happy to have those conversations with interior designers at any point to really figure out what's going to be best for the client and that project. So to get started, I will always offer a free consultation for your clients. It's 15 to 30 minutes. You can just sign up. I'll put the link below here. You can just sign them up. You're welcome to be there. You don't have to be. It's a free consultation. It's an opportunity for them to get to know me, for us to have a conversation about what they're looking for and make sure that my services are the appropriate fit for them. If they are totally ready to go to work with me, do not need a free consultation, you can sign them up for my initial intake meeting, which is 60 to 90 minutes. I would definitely allot 90 just in case. And this is where we're really going over all of those different layers, their aesthetics, their themes, their personality, their values, their priorities, aspirations, all of those things get sifted through in that intake meeting. I love when you send me design notes, any photos that you have of the project, anything that you can share with me that's going to help me both be really cohesive with your design and have a comprehensive understanding of your client. Again, it is your client and I'm here to partner with you, and so anything that you can provide me to make this a seamless process both for you and for the client is really helpful and amazing. So you can always send those notes to me after we've agreed to work together. I've sent the contract to the client, all that stuff has taken place. And then I begin curating. So as I said, 3 to 4 weeks for the initial curation, initial selection, and then a meeting with the client. We kind of sift through it, and then if they need to revise that curation, I'll do that. The entire process can take 3 to 4 months, depending on ship times, depending on how quickly we find the right pieces. All sorts of factors vary into that. I will support your team with framing options and installation support. I work remotely, so I can offer advice on that. I can certainly give you recommendations for both framing companies in your area and art installers if you don't already have one on your team. I know a lot of designers have that embedded in. So if that's something that you want, I am more than happy to connect you to those resources and kind of support with how to place the art. And then wrapping up, I help the client really integrate the pieces into their home. So once the design is done, the whole project has been completed, the art is up, I'll have a conversation with the client, just helping them really build a connection to that piece of art again, so that they can speak about the art from their heart and not from a note card. Please let me know what questions you have. I love supporting interior designers with this kind of work, and I know that this can be unusual if you've never worked with an art consultant before, or if you've worked with really traditional art consultants and are not really clear about what I'm doing. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. I'll actually link below another scheduling, so I'll link the one for the free consultation for your clients, and then I'll link a schedule for you and me to have a conversation, which is a slightly longer meeting and really just an opportunity for us to get to know each other and make sure that we are going to gel in our partnership. Thanks for watching this. Let me know what questions you have, and I will see you down the line.